season. So we can kind of kick it off to what your thoughts are about it. Seeing that we have a couple preseason weeks under our belt here with the rule being in place.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's it's just an interesting rule. I don't really know what the NFL's beef is when it comes to like, players just expressing themselves after they make a big play, score a touchdown or, convert a 3rd and 15, catch a pass over a couple a couple DBs, like, catch a pass with it being double covered, carry an entire defense 10 to 12 yards for a first down. We've seen an example of it already in the Indianapolis Colts and Carolina Panthers game where, I was watching it live, a running back literally, he carried like no lie, like 8, 9 guys, 8, 9, 10 yards for a first down. He's 4th string. He's trying to make a name for himself, got up, just kind of did like a couple of these, flex. Nobody was really even nearby him, but the referee just came out of nowhere and threw the flag. I just think it's kind of crazy. And I think that one thing that the NFL don't really realize in this situation is that, I saw a tweet that, being like a, practice player, just like trying to make the team, like in that guy's situation, he's only making like, 5, 6 grand, just to be in camp. And I saw that fine was like $3,700.
Yeah.
So, this guy, he's trying to make the team, like make a name for himself, play well, just express, some excitement after making a great play. And now you're going to take a half of a game check from them or half of like a, training camp check from them. I just don't get it. They try to kind of like dumb it down to where basically all you could do was score a touchdown and just, get the ball to the ref. And then they try to make it to where you could do like team celebrations or like, try to cut down on guys like, leaving the ground. Like a couple, you get penalized if you're doing a backflip or, just kind of overdoing things. And I just really don't, understand what the problem is with it, because I feel like, I can see, if it's like high school, middle school, okay, like you kind of want to teach a little bit of sportsmanship at that type of level, but these are grown men. And how I always look at it is like, if you don't want somebody like dancing, who you're playing against, then don't let him in the end zone. Don't let him make that big play. And I just kind of feel like that's how it should be going forward. That's how it should always be. But like, what are your thoughts on it?
No, I agree with a lot of things you said. I think you should never try to interfere with a natural reaction. And a natural reaction is, especially when you make a good play, or is excitement. Is you're living for the moment. You're focused on that one task, and now you're going to show your excitement about it. It's not half the time, and a lot of these times, like you said, just a flex or a fist pump or whatever it may be. That is not necessarily, in my eyes, a taunt at all. That's a sign of gratification for this moment that just happened, or it's kind of you're not doing it to put the other people down as much as you are celebrating the success that you just had and showing fired up. These players aren't robots. These players aren't mindless. They are filled with adrenaline and filled with passion, and that's what makes them such great athletes and competitors in the first place.
Yeah.
So you won't be able to ever be able to referee that out or be able to get that out of the player system without the game tremendously suffering with players not having the passion. And there's a big difference between, as we stated, a flex or a fist pump or something to that effect, and pointing at a player after you do something. Or last year, I can't think of who it was, but they threw up the peace sign after they
in
the playoff. Yeah. So I think those type of things, I still think you should let them go, but also I could see maybe those are the ones you should entirely single out, where they are potentially trying to embarrass another player or put down a player. I still think that should be okay. But if you wanted to solely focus on those, I would have I'd have a different feeling about the rule versus you trying to, get the passion out of a player and get them to just be a mind, oh, I got a first down, or I converted a 3rd and 15 at the end of the game. Let me put the ball down and run back to the huddle and not show any passion. The game's gonna suffer if players aren't able to play with the full livelihood that they have.
Yeah. And like, and you even kind of notice too, like sometimes, a team is kind of down, just don't really have that momentum on their side. And I mean, sometimes they just need to see their best player after making a big play. It's kind of like, I'm here, like point for a first down, or just, definitely like show that emotion. I mean, I think it's more, for me, it's more than just like taunting. I think it's literally like, it's a part of the game to where, I mean, this, like, you talk about like, huge momentum shifts, between teams. Like, I think it goes a lot deeper than, I can definitely see why they say that sometimes some of it can be like a little over the top, and it can maybe like cause things to escalate to where players start like, maybe trying to fight each other, or, some of it can just be like a little, maybe a little too disrespectful. But I'm more on the side of it just being something that's just like necessary. Like I said earlier, how I look at it is like, if you don't want people celebrating, you need to do whatever you need to do to keep them out the end zone, stop them from making big plays. And then I heard a guy, I think he's like, big wig for the Giants, just kind of saying like we're tired of the talking, and like, it's like, what do you mean? Like, it's sports. Like, you got some athletes playing at the highest level possible for the sport of football. Like, it's just competition. I just look at it as healthy competition, in a sense. So I think it's a stupid rule. I think what will happen is, a referee will go out there and throw a flag on a close game. It'll be a scenario where it'll be 20-20. It got, the score is 20-20. Guy makes a 25-yard catch to get a team in, field goal range, celebrates too hard, so that play automatically gets negated. And then, it'll have an impact on the game in a negative way. And then I feel like they'll definitely look at it and be like, okay, maybe we need to scale it back a little bit, because we don't want to have these types of rules affecting outcomes of games.
Yeah, yeah, and like they always do, they always overstep when they first roll out a rule. They, whether it was the, rules we generally agree with, the helmet to helmet stuff, but when when it became with the first couple of years, it was every play that just looked aggressive. Yep. They were calling that type of thing, whether it was hitting the people in the shoulder, in the chest plate, wherever it have been. If they were getting rocked, it was getting called. Yep. So I think at first they always kind of completely overstep to say, this is the law of the land. You cannot overstep this line here. And then, like you said, eventually they'll roll it back into somewhat more of maybe where it should be, or kind of back to life. Or that's just how they're tricking us into giving rules out here where they're entirely hammering in one way and then saying, oh, well, this is how it's really going to be after a couple seasons. Yeah. So, I agree.
Yeah, it's just a hope that they, just figure it out. Because I just look at it as like it's just a stupid way for like, some of those higher ups just to like still have their hand, in the game some way, somehow. I feel like there's just things that are needed. We need to see Cam Newton doing the Superman after he scores a touchdown, and like giving the ball to fans. You know what I mean? We need to see the guys that make a huge play, letting the defense know they just made a big play in a big part of the game, that I feel like it just needs to kind of happen. I can't really see like football without it.
And then how many, and what is the first, if I'm a receiver or running back and I get a first down and I do the first down mark, is that an automatic taunting if they see it? If I'm a quarterback and I throw a 50-yard bomb and I throw up the touchdown symbol, is that an automatic taunting if they see it? And where are they going to stop it? And what's kind of generally the receiver being able to do the first down marker has always been able to be, since my earliest memories, I can picture T.O. doing, I can picture Randy Moss doing, that's a staple of what they do. So, are you gonna try to referee that out of the game entirety? It's bad for the game, in my opinion.
Right. And like I said, man, it's grown men. You know what I mean? Like, if they get their feelings hurt, they need to be played better. They need to prevent it from happening. Like, that's just kind of, my take on it. I can see if it's like, 8th grade, high school, you probably don't, I think at that point in time, you just kind of need kids to like learn how to play the game the correct way, but once it gets to like that college, NFL, where it gets like that, professional, or like college or professional level, that's like a whole different ballgame. Not too many players are good enough to make it to that level. So I just feel like it needs, that's it's just a part of it. That's just really, where I'm at with it. And, but like you said, I feel like they'll, week 2, week 3, they'll cost the team a game, you know, and then it'll be like, oh, okay, they'll cost the Cowboys a game, and it's like, oh, you know, we definitely need to scale it back a little bit, you know, just because it might have just turned a touchdown into a field goal or took a team out of field goal range, you know. And yeah, I mean, like I said, this game's at the highest level, and every point, every yard counts on most games. So we'll see in due time, though. But yeah, next transition we're gonna make is